And we are recording. So let me get rid of that. All right, and before I start the walkthrough tonight, questions?
I don't have enough knowledge to ask anything yet.
Okay. All right. Our objective this week in Lesson 7 is to learn how to write stored procedures. Now, major transition this week, and I talk about this in our announcement. Everything that we've been doing so far, at least everything that we have been writing code for, with the exception of last week, has been anonymous blocks. An anonymous block is compiled each time that we execute it. So it compiles it and then immediately executes that block of code. I'm getting feedback. You might want to mute your mic unless you need to talk to me. And so with the stored procedure, we compile it once and then it's stored in the database and it's executed many times. The key to stored procedures is that we use the create or replace command. And you actually saw this last week as we were working with the insert item and insert items procedures. Create or replace, often referred to as the compile command, that's what's compiling that block of code. And it stores both the source version and the compiled version of that code in the database. I've mentioned this several times, but anytime you see the create keyword, that block of code is stored out there in our database and it will be permanently there until we go out and physically drop procedure. And so that's why we can get away with compiling it one time and then executing it many times. And that's the real world. We still use anonymous blocks out there in the real world for what we're doing in testing. So I will build my block of code, I'll build my stored procedure, and then I'll test it inside of an anonymous block. And again, that's exactly what we did last week. So again, the author, as he does most of the time, in the previous exercise, he'll actually have you do a few things and give you 100% of what you need to know as a precursor to what we're then going to do the following week. So if we drop down here a little ways now, what we're going to do is create an insert contact procedure. And when I build a new contact into our database, we actually have to insert information into multiple tables. And so here you'll see that what we're going to do in that insert contact procedure is we're going to insert into the member, the contact, the address, and the telephone tables. So we'll do one insert, and inside of our stored procedure, we want to break that out, and we'll do an insert into each of those four tables. This is going to be what we refer to as an all or nothing insert to the four tables. In other words, if I make it successful in inserting to two of the tables, but it fails inserting into the third table, I don't want to save anything. I'm going to roll everything back. So either all four inserts are successful or we roll back all four inserts. Now, with that then, the next piece down here is the help section. And again, the help section, read through it because it really does kind of give you the pieces similar, but not exactly what we're going to be doing inside the lab. And I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time on that because I think this week, as we've had now the last couple of weeks, a previous TA to the course has built recordings where he does things very similar to what you're going to be doing in the actual lab. So I think if you watch that recording, which I've referenced in this week's announcement, that you'll be more successful. I think that'll help you actually more than this help section will. But now we come down here and let's see, where do I need to go to? I want to hit that piece. So we come down here to the instruction details. And in our lab description, let's see, I want to make sure I'm in the right spot. Uh, what you're going to do now is you're going to create that insert stored procedure. Now, there's a bunch of stuff here that says if you want to test your code from the Oracle Live directly, you need to make some changes. Ignore that. That's not going to be terribly useful to you. So you can really just ignore part of that piece. So this stuff here where it's talking about changing line so-and-so and line so-and-so, ignore that, okay? But the one piece you do need to pay attention to is now we come down here and we're going to go out and we're going to take a look at the system user table, which contains all of our users. And you're going to look specifically where the username is DBA. And what you're going to find is at the present time, we have 4 users called DBA. Well, not a good situation, because in this lab, we're going to be using the username as a key to get into that username table, or that system user table. So it says what you need to do is issue an update with a small anonymous block, and you can just literally copy paste that piece. And what that's going to do is change DBA to DBA 1, 2, 3, and 4 so that they're unique. And so what you want to do is just take these 3 blocks of code. Woohoo, boy, did that ever go flying away. Get me back to where I need to get back to here. I hate it when it does that to me. Okay, so what you want to do is take these, really all you need is this declare and the select to make certain that it worked. So grab the declare and the select, and that's going to be the first thing that you put into your lab file so that you run that every time. Because remember now, excuse me, and I need to take a step back. Remember, and I mentioned this again several times, remember back in lab 2.1, and we've done this in every exercise, in every lab since, I think, that we have the 2 scripts, the one that drops the tables and the other one that creates the tables. You want to do that every time so that you start out with a fresh set of tables. Well, since you're starting out with a fresh set of tables, you're going to again need to come back in and change DBA to DBA 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And then we're going to come down, and this lab now has 4 parts. I'm going to create an insert contact definers rights procedure. If you haven't read the text yet, if you've watched the announcements, then in the announcement I talk about definers rights and invokers rights. So I won't spend a lot of time talking about it here, but it's also in your reading assignment, and I also talk about it in the announcement. So hopefully you've at least watched the announcement. But there's 4 parts now. You're going to create a definers rights procedure and test case. Then in the second step, you're going to modify that definers rights procedure to a invokers rights procedure. That's a matter of adding 2 lines of code. So once you've gotten done the first part, the second part's a piece of cake. Then the third part, you're going to take that procedure and you're going to turn it into a function. So again, very simple. You're going to be changing, I don't know, maybe a half a dozen lines of code total. And so once you've got the first piece, steps 2 and 3 are very, very simple and very, very straightforward. Okay. And then finally, in step 4, you're going to create a contact object data type. We've done that now several times. You're going to create a collection data type based upon that object data type. We've done that several times. So remember, the object is the ball of stuff. We're then going to create a collection data type, which is a table of those balls of stuff. Then you're going to create a little function that's going to populate and display the information out of that object. Okay. Now, note this last piece, and we'll get down to it in just a minute in more detail, is only worth 5 points. So don't get too hung up on it. If you have trouble with that, at least submit the first 3 pieces, because that's 20 points out of your 25. If you get hung up on the last piece, you're down 5 points. Big deal. in both classes, I still need people willing to do a devotional, and that's worth 10 points. So you can pick up that 5 points real easy. Okay, now down into the detail. Step 1, you're going to create an insert contact procedure that writes an all or nothing procedure. In other words, it does all 4 inserts or you roll everything back. So what that says is down in your exception section, you're going to do a rollback, and it's going to roll everything back. And you're going to insert into 4 tables based upon some parameters being passed into you. And so you're going to start out, let's see, if I skipped something, no, not yet. Okay, I'm good. So you're going to start out building your procedure, and your procedure is going to pick up a bunch of parameter values. It gives you the name, and it gives you the value that you're going to assign to each of those names. Now down here at the bottom, it says you should first inspect the contact insert procedure provided to you for setting up the database, which is found here. I want to show that to you real quick. So if you follow the path that it gives you here inside your VM machine, it's going to take you over here and you're going to find this contact insert SQL. This is not exactly what you're going to be doing, but it is darn close. And I would copy that because that's a good starting point. So here's your create or replace procedure, contact insert. Here's your list of parameter values that you're going to pass in. It's not exact, but here's the exact ones that you're going to pass in right over in the instructions. And then you're going to have some variables, and I believe that's the same set of variables that you're going to have in your procedure. Then you're going to come down here, and there's going to be some pieces that we're going to add in right here, and I'll talk more about that. But then you're going to insert into the member table, you're going to insert into the contact table, you're going to insert into the address table, and so all of that stuff I think is exactly, or at least very close to being exactly what you're going to be doing inside the procedure that you're going to build. So this is probably 80% of your procedure right here. I would pick it up, I would copy it, and I would use that as my starting point.
And that was inside the library file?
Yeah, it's right here below that list of parameters. This is where it's at right there.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. All right, let's see. Once you've built your procedure, if you do a describe on it, the describe insert contact procedure, here's what you should see as your parameter list. Let's see. And then coming on down here, where's the piece I want? Here it is. The list of parameters in the procedure should include all of the common lookup type values. So the contact type, the member type, the credit card type, and the address type, and the telephone type are all values that you're going to pick up out of the common lookup type. And I love his comment down here. Unfortunately, users don't remember surrogate keys too readily. That's why one of the parameter values that you're going to pass in is the username. We're then going to use that username to go out to the common lookup table and get the values for each of the pieces that we need. Now, let's see. Coming down, you're going to write a dynamic SQL cursor that takes 3 parameters and returns the common lookup ID values. So you're going to pass in a table name, a column name, and a lookup type. That's going to go against the common lookup table, and it's going to pass back to you the contact type, the member type, depending upon the type that you reference. Now, boy, one of these days I'm going to get in trouble for doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. You know I do that, don't you? Let's see. Where did I put that? Here it is right here. So you're going to build a cursor That cursor is going to accept 3 parameter values, and it's going to do a query against the common lookup table based upon those 3 values. And so you're going to now build a cursor. Down in your executable, you're going to build a for loop. And you're going to go out to that cursor, and specifically, you're going to pass in, hey, I want to go to the member table. I want to see from the member information, I want to see the member type, and it's going to pass back to you this member type, which is what you're then going to insert into your table. Whoops, I don't want to do that. I want to go down here. Which is what you're then going to use in your insert statement to put in the specific type. Now here they've done exactly the same thing using a select statement opposed to using the cursor. I will accept either one. And so you can do it the way that I just showed you, or you can do it this way. What you're getting here is that common lookup ID. Okay, and you're getting the common lookup ID first of all for, well, not first of all, but if we go all the way up here, you're getting it first of all for the member type, then you're going to get it for the contact type, and then you're going to get it for the address type, and then you're going to get it for the telephone type. Okay. Now, did I lose either of you there? We still kind of okay?
It's making more sense. I'm sure it'll.
Yeah.
I'm sure the gaps will fill in as we read.
Now, again, I'm walking through the instructions because if you'll depend on these instructions, they really are a lot more straightforward than most people are giving them credit for. There really is some good detail there. Okay. Then you built your insert procedure. Now you've got a test case here to test it. And so you're just going to copy and paste these pieces down here, and you should see the result that you're seeing right there. Okay. The next piece, you're now going to take that definer's rights procedure, you're going to turn it into an autonomous transaction. We did that in Chapter 6, and you want to turn it into an invoker's rights procedure. That is very literally only going to add, I think it is 2 lines to your code. Again, at the risk of getting fired. That's the wrong piece. Let's see if I can get to the right piece here real fast. Actually, it adds 1 piece. But you're also going to add a line to make this an autonomous transaction, which is what we did in the last exercise. Okay. And that really is all there is to Section 2. Then in Section 3, you're going to take the first one, the invoker's right. No, you're going to take the second one, the invoker's rights procedure. No, I take the first one, because the first one is definer's rights. That's the one without the modification to make it invoker's rights. So you're going to take that definer's rights procedure that you did in step 1, you're going to turn it into a function. And that's it. That's steps 1, 2, and 3. And that's 20 points right there. Okay. And you've got a test case for that one. You've got a test case for each of these 3 pieces. Then the very last piece, you're now going to create a get contact object. This is my ball of stuff. And you're going to create a get contact collection type. And it even gives you a page reference here. You're then going to build a function that is going to utilize that information. So again, down here at the bottom, the detail. The pre-steps, you're going to build the object type containing 3 values, 3 elements. They are the first name, the middle name, and the last name. So you're going to create an object with those 3 elements in it. Then you're going to create a collection of that object type. So up here it tells you to call it contact object. You're now going to create a table of type contact object. We've done this now, I think, 3 different times. So hopefully that piece is becoming kind of old hat. I hope it is. Then you're going to create a function. And again, it kind of walks you through the steps here of building the function. Okay. Let's see. You should test the function with following query. So again, it gives you a page reference here of where you can go in the textbook to get an example of the function that you're going to be building. And in the lab walkthrough that was done by our TA, he has a little bit better example of how to build that function. So if you've not been in the habit of looking at those TA videos, I really strongly recommend it on this one. It'll be of more value to you on this one than it has been in any case up to right now. You're really going to want to depend on that. He does a good job. Okay. All right. Now I know at this stage of the game you're sitting there scratching your head and saying, "Gee, I don't even know what questions to ask." But that's why I'm here, and that's why our TA is here. Okay. I shouldn't say this too loud. Our TA had a little bit of a misunderstanding last week, and he took people down a wrong path. But he and I chatted about that, and he understands where he went wrong, and so I don't think he'll have that problem anymore. He really is. He really is excellent, and the people that have been using him really like him. He explains things very, very well. And so, hey, I'm available. TA, if I'm not available, TA's available. If TA's not available, I'm available. One or the other of us tries to be available most of the time. Okay. All right, that's the walkthrough. Questions? I need to get back over here.
I can honestly say I'm not going to know what my questions are until I actually have a chance to finish the reading and poke through it. So.
Oh, and I understand that absolutely. Without the reading, a lot of what I just said is not going to make any sense at all.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Is that April?
Yes.
Oh, I hear you, April.
Okay. Hey, I just had a question. My mind's not quite, it's kind of involved right now, but you're doing there's 4 sections. Right. And so are there going to be like 4 different all-in-one file? Like 4 different, I guess.
I would strongly recommend that you do each piece separately so that you can see any errors or problems that you've got with each piece.
Okay.
But what you're going to submit to me is all 4 pieces, including the test case. So I'm going to need to see 2 procedures, 1 function, and then the last piece, the object function. Okay.
Okay, so you're saying just do them all like individual in the file, and then once they all work independently, or I'm kind of like trying to wrap my head around it all. So do they all have to work on, like one has to work in order for the second to go?
No.
Okay, they're all pretty much independent?
They are independent, but you really want to get the first one working first. Once you've got the first one working, then steps 2 and 3 are just minor modifications to step 1.
Okay, I think I kind of picked that up, just changing them from the invoker and all that, right?
Well, the first piece is changing from, let's see, here it is right here. So in the first place, you're going to create the insert contact procedure. Get that one done first. And then you're just going to change that from definers rights to invokers rights. That's step 2. And you've got a test case for step 2.
Okay.
Then step 3 is to take that and turn it into a function. That's step 3. So I would build each of those steps independently, test them independently, but make sure you send me all 3 of those pieces. Then step 4 is to create the object table function. So you're going to send me 4 pieces of code.
Okay, so it's pretty much 4 files then going over to you?
Yep.
Okay.
Four files, including, well, you're going to send me 4 blocks of code plus 4 associated pieces of testing.
Yeah, like the spool files?
Yep.
So do you want them in a single file, or do you, with all 4 blocks of code, or do you want them in 4 separate? Okay.
Don't care. Whatever works for you.
Okay.
I like the separate, and then the separate spool files.
Yeah. I think it will be easier for you if you do it that way. But
That's
hey,
what I'm going with.
I've seen every combination you can possibly imagine, so I'll accept it either way.
So we should, that file you showed us in the beginning, that we should go grab, and then that's what we're making modifications to. We should duplicate that into 4 different files, and then do each of the 4 steps independently of each other.
No.
Okay.
No. Grab it once, modify it, and get that one working. So that's step 1, is get that thing working modified.
Yeah, that's only majorly for step 1, right?
Yep.
That file.
Then duplicate that and modify it for step 2.
Oh, okay, I see. So as you go getting them each running, then once you have each individual piece running, duplicate it and pass it on to the 3rd file.
Well, you're almost there, Stuart. Get step 1 running. Duplicate it, modify it for step 2. Come back and grab step 1 again, modify it, and make it step 3.
Okay.
Okay. So you're actually going to end out with 3 versions of contact insert. 2 of them will be create a replace procedure. The last one will be create a replace function.
Okay, so as long as you get the file running the first time, then that's your basis for the other 3
Exactly.
Steps. Okay.
Well, steps 2 and 3. Step 4 is totally independent.
Okay.
Okay. Other issues. All right. Don't hesitate to give us a yell. I really don't want anybody. I keep hearing, I spent 6 hours on this last night, and I kept getting the same error. If you're getting the same error, it's time to call me, okay? Don't spend 6 hours on any single problem. Get a hold of either me or Harry. Let us help you through the issues. Okay. All right. Have a good week, everybody, and good luck.
Thanks. You too.
You can succeed.
Thanks.
All right. Have a good night.
Okay. Bye.